Hi everybody, my name's Wendy Cargile and I'm going to be here in Fayetteville talking about the Chi Omega Greek Theater. Okay, well let's start with a little bit of history of our theater. Mary Love and Dr. Charles Richardson first came up with the idea to base our theater off the Theater of Dionysus in Athens, Greece. The theater was designed by an architectural firm, Jamieson and Spurl of St. Louis, Missouri in 1925. The design was carried out by Young Bryan Construction Company from Fort Smith, Arkansas. It was completed in 1930. The theater was actually a gift to the university from the female fraternity Chi Omega. This was the first time in history that a national sorority had presented a memorial of its foundation to a university in which it was founded. Much of the design of the theater has a specific meaning to the sorority. The 5 words written above the columns, knowledge, integrity, courage, culture, and intelligence, are ideals of the Chi Omega group. The 14 columns are for the original 14 members of the sorority. The 5 aisles represent the 5 founding members, Simmons, Bowles, Richardson, Halcombe, and Finsenheller, along with their names across the front of the stage. The largest crowd gathered at the theater was more than 6,000. This happened during World War II, and the concert was by the Army Air Corps Band. Since 1992, the Chi Omega Theater has been a part of the National Register of Historic Places. I'm going to describe the theater using formalism. Space is created between the columns, giving the theater a very open feel. This is really different from modern stages that have backdrops and heavy curtains, and you can't see behind them at all. From an aerial view, both the stage and the steps look like circles. The whole thing looks like a giant circle, really, and it's very organic from above. The steps, columns, and the front of the stage are all marble in color and make it look more like the Theater of Dionysus. But the floor of the theater itself is much darker, and I think it's to help with the glare, so you don't get blinded while you're trying to look at it and watch people do things. As a whole, the theater puts a lot of emphasis on the stage. It's raised up higher than its immediate surroundings, like the grassy area, and it is in the very center of the structure as well. The theater is also radially balanced. Although altogether the stage and steps aren't completely circular, it gives an illusion that it's an exact circle with the grassy part in the middle, and the stage, of course. The theater is also symmetric down the middle. If you were to cut in half through the center walkway and fold it, it would be exactly the same. Greek theaters began because of rituals performed for the wine god Dionysus. The first theater built from stone was then justly named the Theater of Dionysus, which is a model of our own, much smaller, Chi Omega Greek theater. Greek theaters became very popular in the 5th century BC. They were built so that even the people in the very back at the very top of the stands could hear every word clearly. This is done with a semicircular seating arrangement, with radiating stairways. In the center was the orchestra or stage, which had an altar for Dionysus. If you ever listen to a concert in our own Chi Omega Greek theater, you know how well this structure really does work. The columns in our Greek theater are reminiscent of Doric order columns. Though they do not contain drums, the shafts of the columns on our theater are smooth, which is different from Greek columns, but it is only influenced and not an exact replica. I chose this piece because I'm an architecture student and the Greek theater is just so pretty. But it's so odd. It seems almost out of place on campus because all these other modern buildings are around it and it's Greek influence. Like, where did that come from? And I was curious as to why the architects picked that influence and why they chose it. I also find the theater to be one of the prettiest places on campus, especially during nice weather. There'll be people laying out there, people studying, people playing frisbee on the grass outside. Like, it's so nice. It's one of the best places to be. And when you go and you can enjoy the weather and you can sit on a piece of artwork, that's pretty amazing.